I, 35M, resent my son, 5 mom, because my wife died giving birth to him. I feel like an awful parent. I don't know what to do. It's not his fault. My 35M wife, 35F, passed away soon after childbirth from excessive blood loss. And for someone who'd had 2 healthy pregnancies before, this came as a massive shock alongside the sudden realization that I'd lost my wife. It's been 5 months and I'm now the grateful parent of 3 beautiful and terrifying children. 7F, 2M, and 5 mom. I've recently come to the realization that as much as I love my youngest son, positively adore this little boy, I resent him. He didn't choose to be born. It wasn't his fault. I resent him for the choices we made. And I resent him because our want to have another child led to my wife dying. It's not rational, I know, but I can't help it. I need help. I need advice, please. This is above anything people on Reddit can tell you. Therapy is definitely needed. And I hope you're able to find a really good therapist. Sorry for your loss. I'm hoping the best for you. Wow man. My deepest sympathies. My heart goes out to you, my friend. It sounds like there could be some pretty serious PTSD going on. Like your brain, through absolutely no fault of your own, has linked your son directly to your wife's passing. Don't feel guilty or ashamed. The brain can do some strange things with traumatic stress. You are so strong and brave for asking for help. This is very deep. Definitely seek a counselor specializing in loss. Reach out to friends and family for help with the kids. Take time to distress. You've definitely been through some shit and I respect the hell out of you for holding it together. Look for her smile and mannerisms in the baby. She lives on through the kids. The fact that you recognize what's going on is a good sign. And to feel resentment is not uncommon at all. You're grieving and probably will be for a while yet. As your son grows, he'll become his own person more and more, and at the same time the feelings of resentment will fade. What you are going through is incredibly hard, so give yourself a break, man. Stop beating yourself up. You're clearly an emotionally intelligent guy who's going through hell. So be kinder to yourself. Imagine if a friend came to you with this request for advice. What would you say to him? So sorry for your loss. Please consider getting professional help. You're dealing with a huge traumatic situation and you don't want this to affect your relationship with your child. Therapy. I'm so sorry for your loss. You absolutely must get therapy for this. Your son will be impacted by your resentment otherwise. You aren't a bad parent at all. Grief does strange things to people. You are in a very, very hard situation and you can see that your feelings aren't rational and that your son isn't to blame. But they are a part of the process. And you must sit with them and work through them in little bits and pieces when you can. You acknowledge these feelings, which is a good thing. Even though it is scary. You are dealing with it and you are allowed to talk about everything you are going through. If you want to, you can chat with me. If not, I'll get it. Maybe you can start a journal to write down all those messy emotions and get it out that way. In any case, hang in there. You are stronger than you know. Some of these comments are horrendous. Op and his family is going through an enormous amount of emotional turmoil, and while trying to move through his grief and get some helpful advice, people are blaming him and his deceased wife for prioritizing a new baby over their already alive children. What planet are you on? Maternal mortality rates during childbirth are so low that for most people, fear of dying isn't really a considered factor for most people unless they have a reason to factor it in. relevant health issues, history of difficult, dangerous pregnancies. Furthermore, anyone not severely depressed and having mixed up feelings following an event like this in their life frankly isn't human. If you can't be kind, leave. There's enough negativity in the world without making this already suffering man feel any worse. Op isn't a mind reader or a bad person. He was a husband and father that made a decision many people do, to add more joy to their family. Op, I can't imagine losing my partner that way and having a living, breathing reminder of the woman you loved the most to take care of in addition to the children you already have. I can sympathize in so much as when my baby died, my world ended and I spent 5 years scrambling to make sense of it and find some way to go on. All I can say is, it gets more manageable in time. He is gonna feel the weight of this as he grows, and I hope you do all you can to show him that it's not his fault. It's not yours either. Please consider grief counseling independently and as a family should you think it beneficial to your children. Most importantly, reach out to everyone and anyone available to help support you and your family and keep safe. I wish you all the best. You can get 3 months of free online therapy via BetterHelp by signing up here. You definitely need to talk this over with someone. Is it possible you don't actually resent him but he's the easiest place to direct your feelings to? I can't tell you how you do or don't feel obviously, but it's possible since you're still grieving. You haven't been able to properly process your feelings and are turning all your anger, sorrow, and maybe even resentment, possibly for your wife who had passed, a higher power that didn't keep her with you, the doctors who couldn't save her, and maybe even yourself for deciding to have another child, onto your baby. Like I said, I don't know how you're actually feeling, what's going on in your mind, or anything like that. I do know grief does weird and terrible things to the best of us. If you can't afford help, see if you can have your family take care of the kids every so often while you attend a grief support group. Maybe look into books that specialize in moving on from your situation or at least processing what's happened in a healthy way. I'm sure you can find 1 or 2 published by a therapist that sound like a good fit. Wishing you the best, Op. What you're going through is heartbreaking, but you aren't a bad person for having emotions. It's what you choose to do with them that decides that. Find time when you need it. Hopefully you have people in your life, even friends, that can help you out when you're feeling overwhelmed. I am a mother. I can only give the perspective that your wife would have. I have a rare blood disorder. The risk of maternal or fetal death rises to 65% during the 37th week, and rises as high as 80% between the 38th week and week 40 if left undiagnosed. I hemorrhaged during my first delivery, despite being induced early and receiving medication for this condition. I was lucky enough to be able to tell my husband that my child comes first, and that if I given a choice between my life and my son's, to chose our baby. My life would not be complete without him. I had witnessed the joys of many sunrises and sunsets, of falling in love, of wonder and excitement at the beauty this world brings even through loss and sadness. Our son would have none of those experiences. It was, and is, my greatest wish that he grows up surrounded by people who love him, and that he was no less than a physical manifestations of our love for each other. How great and beautiful is that? To give birth to a person that is the physical embodiment of the love you have for your soulmate? Your wife never left you. She is right beside you, residing in your beautiful and perfect little boy. There is nothing on earth that she would want more than for you to love that child, to look at him and see her in him, to see yourself, to see the togetherness, the love that created him. I am not a doctor or a therapist, I am a mom. My deepest and biggest wish is for my children to have a loving and happy life. Your wife loves you and trusts you so much that she trusted you as her partner to raise her children. Whether we like to think about it or not, every woman goes into pregnancy and childbirth knowing there is a chance of loss of either our life or our child's life. What gets us through this dark reality is knowing that if we die, our child will be left with someone who loves them unconditionally. Please grant your wife this one last wish: to love your son as she would, to hold him every day and cherish him, to love every single beautiful, sad, hard and funny moment of being his father enough for the two of you, to carry on the dream that you had for your future together and to see her in every single smile and delicate breath he takes. Your wife never left you. She is in the children you conceived together, especially your son. I cannot speak for your wife, but in some ways I feel like I know her. No mother who truly loves their children would wish for anything else. And I know your wife was full of love by exactly how much you love her. Heart. I think you need to speak to a professional, rather than getting quack advice from Reddit. This is really the only advice I can give you. I'm very sorry for your loss. It must be devastating. But whatever you do, don't let this fester. Talk to a professional. Most therapists have a sliding scale. If you tell them your financial situation, they can lower the cost. There are some online platforms now that do virtual therapy and the cost is lower, I believe. Talkspace is one. Heart.
Therapy.
Go to therapy. You need help working through this. Your 7-year-old could probably use therapy. 2. A good kid therapist can help her work through what she's feeling just like a good adult therapist can help you. 2. It's a horrible thing that has happened, but you can still get through it with your kids. You need to do everything you can to give them a chance at a mentally healthy future. Sometimes places including hospitals offer free therapy for trauma such as this. I am so sorry for your loss. I would check into it through the hospital. Or if you have insurance, they will gladly walk you through the process. Hello. And thank you for your submission. Please take a moment to review the rules listed in our sidebar. Specifically, what constitutes moral judgment, and what this subreddit can and cannot give advice on. For further guidance, please see our wiki. Please note that this does not mean your post is removed. This is merely a reminder to review our rules. This is a bot message. I cannot respond to any comments. Please modmail us with any questions. I am a bot, and this action was performed automatically. Please contact the moderators of this subreddit if you have any questions or concerns. I'm so sorry for your loss. Having a newborn is hard on its own, as is grief. Doing them together with 2 other kids on your own? You are going through a lot and you're processing this all while also in survival mode. Don't be too hard on yourself. It's great you are self-aware and that you want to address this. Please find a therapist. I think you can work through these complicated feelings best with a professional. I am so very sorry for your loss. I think you are doing better than you think. You were able to recognize it isn't his fault, and that's already a huge step. What you are feeling is absolutely normal and it doesn't at all make you a terrible person or parent. Seeing a grief counselor might help. Good luck, my friend. Sorry for your loss. Try finding a way to get therapy, but in the meantime you can browse through this website. They offer semi-decent advice as tools to deal with grief here. Also, do some research on self-help books on the matter. Just make sure they were written by a professional. They usually publish quality publications.
If you enjoyed this video,
Please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Ericast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.